Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head down to England once again, and this is a collaboration beer between two of the best known craft breweries from down there these days. So for this one we are going to have a look at the Hop City IPA, which as you might have guessed was brewed for the Hop City Festival, which took place over the Easter weekend, which is either April or March. I'm not so into my Christianity, to be quite honest, but this one is a 6.2% IPA, and it's a collaboration between Northern Monk Brewing Co, who are the hosts of the festival. They host it at the Refectory in Leeds, and Cloudwater Brewing Co, who come from Manchester, who are producing some of these lovely hazy IPAs these days. But as I say, 6.2% IPA, and it should be pretty nice. One thing I should also point out about Hop City is that Rob from Hop Scene was heavily involved in organising this festival. They are having another one in early November 2013, which will be called Dark City. That one's going to look specifically at black IPAs, imperial porters, imperial stouts and things like this. But Hop City is a festival that's dedicated to the likes of IPAs, pale ales and double IPAs, essentially hop forward beers. But this one should be very nice. Rob from Hop Scene and all the other English guys that went along to this festival rated it very, very highly. So I'm definitely looking forward to Hop City 2018. I'm going to go there and meet up with the rest of some of the other beer tubers from England. So that should be really quite interesting actually. So definitely looking forward to this beer, and I hope you guys enjoy it. The reason I have this one now, incidentally, is that there was a second batch of it brewed, and some of it came to Systembolaget in Sweden during August. So yeah. So anyway, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done both from Northern Monk and from Cloudwater. No doubt there will be more in the near future, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, prefecture, county, whatever it is you're actually interested in. There are playlists there for the beers from different countries as well. There is one for all the English beers, which is constantly being added to, and please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Northern Monk then. So as I mentioned to you, Northern Monk are based in Leeds, and they were founded back in 2013 by Russell Bissett, and he started brewing in his mum's basement and launched officially the company at the Sparrow Beer Cafe in Bradford. And in August of 2014 they moved into the old Flax store in the city of Leeds at Marshall's Mill, and they've been working to expand their capacity on this site ever since. But they say that they like to pay homage to the old monastic brewing that used to take place in England. It went on for centuries actually, but it's largely overlooked these days. Of course, most people do associate monastic brewing and monk brewing and things like that with Belgium these days. But they also have, at the brewery, they have the Refectory, which is their bar and restaurant, and they currently brew over 20,000 pints of beer per week, which goes all over the world. And they have their Patrons project, where they team up with other breweries, local restaurants and home brewers and things like this, and that always produces some really quite nice beers. I think I've only reviewed one beer from that series so far, but I will make sure that I review some more in the near future. But the Refectory, of course, like I said, is where this festival, the Hop City, is hosted, and I'm sure the Dark City will be there as well. But it's a festival you really want to check out. Northern Monk, in my experience, are producing some really, really nice stuff. So these guys are one of the English breweries that you really need to check out. The likes of Craig at Kent Beer Reviews, Dean at Dean's Beer Reviews, there's Gareth Ravey as well, Harry at Blue Nose Beer Reviews, all of these guys, Rob at Hop Scene, of course, they all rave a little bit about Northern Monk. So definitely an English brewery that you want to check out. And like I said, the links are in the description below. So anyway, just a little bit about Cloudwater then before we open up this beer. So Cloudwater Brewing Company were founded back in early 2015 by Paul Jones and James Campbell, after the latter left Marble Brewing Company. But they're also joined by Al Wall and Will France, who have a wealth of experience in home brewing, professional brewing and bar management. But the company signed a lease for one of the archways, which allowed them to actually age and sour many of their beers up to 200 barrels at a time, so they did have quite a capacity even in the early days. But the brewing began in March 2015 in Manchester, and officially they opened their brew pub up in the early April of that year. But they started off with a 2,400 litre brew kit, but they've got enough, they had enough floor space to actually double this, and I believe they actually have even tripled that capacity now these days. But they've also been planning for further expansions beyond that as well. And like I've told you before, Cloudwater are the ones that really started to bring these kind of New England IPAs over to England, and they're doing some pretty damn awesome ones actually. The Deepa series was one of these whale beers that everyone used to go absolutely mental for. That of course has morphed into being kind of single hop double IPAs these days. So I think they use some bittering hops, but they focus on one hop specifically in it. But if you get to try some of the double IPAs, the hazy double IPAs from Cloudwater, those are some of the best beers that you're going to find from England as well. So two very good breweries involved in this one, so I'm sure it will be a very nice beer. I think YCH Hops, who are one of the big American hop producers, were also involved in the production of this beer a little bit too. So you can, I'll put the link to their website in the description below as well. But basically, a nice big kind of hop research company, I guess you would say. But yeah, that's all you need to know about the three companies involved in this beer just now. I'll put the links to all of them in the description below, like I said, and do keep your eye open for both Dark City and for Hop City of 2018. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. But yeah, it looks really quite nice, this one. From what I understand, I was reading a blog post about this beer. The early one actually used to have, the very first can that they produced of this did have a little flap here, and you could open it up and the can did become a map. I think they were giving out a can of this when you actually went into the festival to try the beer, and that was one of the reasons for it, was that it had the map on it. So that was pretty cool. But you can see this is the kind of Leeds outline as far as I know. I've not actually been to Leeds in a number of years, so that's another thing that I'll need to do when I go to Hop City 2018. But you can see really nice artwork on this one, and I think I will try and pull the label off the can of this. But yeah, really nicely presented beer. So without further ado, let's get it open and we'll get on with the tasting then. So 6.2% IPA, like I said, and we'll see how we get on. Ooh, this looks nice and hazy. There we are. Oh, we'll just stick all of it in. Should be alright. There's still a wee tiny little bit of it in the can, but that should be enough for the moment. But yeah, as you can see, this beer's poured a really nice, big, hazy yellow colour there. It's more of a yellow golden than an orangey golden, of course, and there's a lovely bit of tropical fruit coming off that. You can smell mangoes, sort of almost pineapple-y notes, a bit of tangerine as well, I would say, just as it starts to come out of the can, but it looks absolutely lovely. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. The head, incidentally, is about 3 fingers. You could see, though, it was quite an aggressive pour. And I would say it is mainly perfectly white, but you do get a little bit of a kind of creamy colour to it as well. But a lovely hazy beer. You can see if I put my fingers behind the glass there, there's not really much coming through at all, but it looks absolutely lovely. I'm guessing it is one of these kind of New England hazy style IPAs that Cloudwater are famous for. I'm pretty sure that when I've tried the Northern Monk IPAs, they are still sticking mainly to the sort of West Coast ones, but Cloudwater are the guys who've been putting forward these nice sort of hazy IPAs, but both breweries do some pretty damn awesome stuff. So like I said, check both of them out if you are particularly interested in English beers. All the English beer tubers seem to rave about them anyway. But yeah, really nice looking beer, this one. You can see the head is just going down a little bit, but let's take a closer look at the aroma and see how we get on. Yeah, definitely leaning towards the tropical juicy fruits. You can detect a little bit of that nice kind of slightly spicy floral aromatic note coming off it. It's not too spicy, but there is just a wee kind of touch of an almost peppery spice coming out of it. There's a wee bit of lemongrass as well, but on top of that it's all these nice juicy fruits. I'm getting a lot of the tangerine notes, and it does make me think there's some mosaic in here actually. And you will get a little bit of the pineapple from mosaic as well. It doesn't actually say what hops are in it on the can right enough. And I was trying to look it up on the websites and things, but there wasn't actually anything to suggest that. But definitely tangerines. I'd say some pineapples as well. It's leaning towards the juicy side of things. I wonder, maybe there's one or two, maybe a New Zealand hop in here or something like that. There's a wee bit of a lemon limey character as well, which, you know, maybe that could be Equinox. That seems to be becoming a popular hop these days. I'm just guessing, but I think there's a bit of mango too. But it's not giving me the notes that I would think for Citra. Mango, of course, is the telltale sign of Citra. It's always fun to play this game when you don't know the hops of a beer, but really, this one definitely leans towards the nice kind of juicy, fruity side of things. But you can smell, there's a little bit of a biscuity malt in there. You can pick up some of this white bready character. I think there's some oaty character as well. But it does smell really nice, as I always say. Just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you actually get stuck into it. But for me, tangerines, maybe a little bit of an apricot-y note as well actually, but tangerines, pineapples, a little bit of a lemongrassy kind of lemon limey note, which it could be Equinox right enough. Equinox always gives you a bit of a limey character. But yeah, it really smells very, very nice. It's always fun to kind of guess a little bit about the hops. So just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. But we're going to try this one now. So this is the Hop City IPA, a collaboration between Northern Monk from Leeds Cloudwater Brewing from Manchester, and of course YCH Hops, who give you some of these lovely fruity flavours in the beers with their hops that they're producing. So let's get stuck into this one then. Slàinte, skål. That's pretty good. I have to say it's quite an interesting one. I'm getting a completely different fruit profile from this in comparison to some of the other New England IPAs that I've had in recent times. It's interesting because I'm getting a lot of limey character out of this one. Definitely there's a good little bit of a limey character coming out of this beer. I think there's Equinaut in here. I'm pretty sure now after the taste there is a little bit of Equinaut in here. As I always say, sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and let your whole mouth adjust to it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure with that lemon limey note that's in here, there is some Equinaut in here. But it's got some lovely, just lighter, juicy tropical fruits coming out of it as well. There's definitely a tangerine note. I'm pretty sure there's some mosaic in here as well. And there's some pineapple-y flavours in there. It's just a really interesting beer. The way the kind of lemon limey character and it comes out of this one, that's quite unusual for me. That's what I think the unique point of this beer is actually, the unique kind of quirky feature, I guess you could say. But yeah, certainly say a big thumbs up to both breweries involved here, and YCH Hops of course as well. This would be a cracking festival beer, and if this is the festival beer, I think that kind of shows you the quality of all the breweries. They had things like Stigberry, it's OO Brewing, Ale Farm. I think they had quite a few from America and stuff like that as well. They had some really, really good quality breweries there. A lot of the good English ones. I think, I don't know if Tempest from Scotland were there, they're probably the best brewery in Scotland just now, but they had some really high quality breweries there, and for a festival beer, you know, if this is the standard of the festival beer, think about some of the other ones that will be there as well. Northern Monk had a load of their beers. But that's really quite nice. You know, it's fair to say it's not the really top kind of New England IPA that I've had, but it is really pretty damn good. The standard of this style of beer is really, really quite good these days, and it's almost hard as a beer reviewer to find one that's absolutely going to blow you away. But this one, I have to say, is really quite nice. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, and as a festival beer, it certainly is really quite cracking. But yeah, in terms of the flavours then, we'll start off with the malt base. So with this one, it is what you'd expect. You've got a nice little bit of a white bready character that goes right across the middle of your tongue. I think there's some paleo malt in there, pretty sure about that. You can pick up a little bit of a slightly thicker kind of wheaty quality to it, but not too much. There's some of that oaty creaminess as well, and I can feel just down the very, very middle kind of fold of my tongue, there's just a wee touch of a slightly biscuity flavour as well coming out of it. But not too much, just a little bit. You can feel that just towards the front of your tongue. There's that, as the flavour goes away from that kind of initial blast that you get, you just get a very little bit of biscuity sweetness right down the middle of your palate. In the back corners of your palate where the hops start to come out, as I always say, the hops come out around the very edge of your tongue. You get this nice, slightly earthy note. You can feel there's a little bit of an almost herbal quality to this beer as well. It does have a very slightly medicinal note, particularly as you progress into the aftertaste. But as you come along the sides of your palate, you can feel a little bit more of that slightly spicy floral aromatic note. It does get particularly spicy on the front corner of your tongue, but then round the very front curve of your palate, you start to get a little bit more of that kind of lemony citrus character and a bit of that almost lemongrassy note coming out of the beer too. But of course, the main part of this beer, where the main complexity is going to come out, is that nice oily bubble just behind the very front curve of your tongue. So with this one, I would say there's maybe just a wee touch of a grapefruit underpinning this one. For me, it just has a little bit of that almost slightly darker, very distinctive grapefruit flavour. You can feel that just underpinning the beer, but it doesn't dominate, if that makes sense. On top of that, you get a little bit of mango. I think I do suspect there is a little bit of citra in here, but I don't think that's the main hop. There are one or two things in the aftertaste, maybe a little bit of that. You can pick up as the aftertaste progresses a little bit of that lychee, almost gooseberry character that's distinctive of the citra. But for me, you start to feel there's a bit of pineapple in there, like I was picking up in the aroma, but there's a nice light, almost tangerine-y character coming out of the beer as well. It's got a nice balance between the tropical fruits and a bit of the citrusy character as well. Like I was saying, a bit of that lemongrass, which maybe the lemony character out of this, it could be Centennial, of course. As I said, I'm guessing what hops are in this, but there are one or two things that make me think maybe there's a wee bit of Centennial in here. But I would suppose more things are making me think it's Citra and Mosaic that are in this beer. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, that lemony character could be from Equinaut. It gives you this really lemon limey character, and you can pick up that a little bit with a kind of lychee gooseberry note that comes out. The lemon limey note, there's a definite lime character to this one in the aftertaste, like I was saying, and that's a telltale sign of Equinox, or what is now Equinaut, of course. But the fruity character in this one has a lot of complexity. Like I say, a bit of grapefruit underpinning it, some tangerine oranges on top of that, and then you start to get everything else just building on top of it. There's a bit of pineapple with the tangerines right enough, but then you start to get lemon limey notes, a little bit of lychee, and a little bit of an almost gooseberry character as well. But it's a really, really interesting beer, and as a festival beer, I'd say that's probably one of the best festival beers that I've actually come across so far, and that kind of highlights for me the quality of the festival, because at a festival like this, the breweries like OO and Steve Barrett's and things like that, they'll be bringing along the very best of their beers. So for this to be the festival beer, it's very high quality, and I'd say it's probably the best festival beer that I've had so far. So there is a challenge there for guys to beat it, although in fairness, now that I say that, I'm not sure if you count the GBG Beer Week as a festival beer, if that makes sense, but the GBG Beer Week was a pretty damn good beer. But this one's not incredibly far away from that. It's actually fairly close to that, but it has a completely different kind of flavour profile. This one, for me, leans more towards the juicy side of things. It doesn't quite have the same bitter and juicy qualities that the GBG Beer Week had, but this is a nice kind of easygoing, sessionable New England IPA. I think that's a good way to sum it up, and it does have some fruit flavours that you don't find too often. For me, particularly, the way the kind of lemon limey character comes out of this one is particularly interesting. I do suspect that there is Equinaut in this. But in terms of the mouthfeel then, I'd say it's mid-bodied, carbonation's very smooth. This is a very, very smooth IPA. Actually, it doesn't quite have the creaminess, but it's just got this almost German Brauhaus type smoothness about it, which is very interesting, quite unusual. There's a good bit of hoppy bitterness to this one, but it's not the most bitter beer. I've had a feeling actually that it did say it was 20 IBUs on this one, so that would make sense. There is a little bit of that floral bitterness on the front corners of the palate, like I was saying, but it's not the most hoppy bitter beer that you're going to come across. It's got a nice juicy fruity quality. There's a little bit of sweetness from the malt, but overall it's quite smooth. Like I said, just a little bit of that biscuity character there, but the best way to sum this up is that it's a pretty damn good festival beer, and you wouldn't expect anything less when you've got Northern Monk and Cloudwater involved in the brewing, and YCH hops, of course, produce some great stuff, so that makes sense for all these kind of lovely fruity flavours that are in here. But yeah, a really lovely beer, and I'm glad that I was able to try this one. So thank you to Systembolaget for getting a batch of this in for us to try in Sweden. So yeah, until the next time, Slandered just now. Thank you for watching my beer reviews. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Northern Monk and from Cloudwater, and indeed from the Hop City Festival, of course. Let me know what your favourite hops are. It's always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, like I say. But thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Hop City IPA from the Hop City Festival of 2017, a collaboration between Northern Monk from Leeds in England and Cloudwater, who are from Manchester in England. So until the next time, it's Slandered just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Cheers. Lovely beer, this one, with some great fruit stuff.